It's really an honor to have you here.
Thank you very much, Lauren. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I've been a big fan for so many years. I know a lot of people in the audience have, and the people watching online. So it's really, really great to have you here. Congrats on the new album.
Yeah, I happen to think it's spectacular.
And I know you said you feel better about this than most albums that you've put out, right?
Not only myself, but so does Jim. Jim wrote a letter that is posted on my Facebook. And the beginning of his letter, Jim Steinman, in the beginning of his letter, it says he was very apprehensive going in to start this record. He didn't know what we could do and what we couldn't do. And his final sentence in his letter, it's one of the top 10 records ever recorded. And I agree with him. The only disappointing thing is I wanted it to be a symphony with no tracks. But with iTunes, you have to have tracks because it really is a symphonic piece and it plays straight through.
Sure, sure. Here you are teaming up with Jim for the fourth time for a full-length album, fourth full-length album. Can you talk a little bit about the magic that you guys have together?
Well, on this record, the magic was very interesting because 3 of the songs he wrote when he was 19. And the very first song that opens the record is the first song he ever wrote. And he wrote it at the age of 19. So I decided that what I would do every song as a 19-year-old. So people go, well, but you're 68. How do you get rid of all of that? I'm going, I'm an actor.
Yeah.
You give every character a backstory. I created his parents, every song. I created his parents. I created where he went to school. I created his friends. Came about. And then, like on Who Needs the Young, he's very angry. I'm not going to tell you what he's angry at.
Okay.
Because the 2 things that have always happened between me and Jim has never once told me why he wrote a song and what it was about. And he knows I sing in characters. And he's never once asked me, what is the character? Jim says, when he's producing, says 2 things, and he even did it on this record. Jim, how was that? Punch the button, playback. I've heard you do it better. Okay. Next one is, you're not singing the right melody. He's a writer.
Yeah.
Writers not singing the right melody.
Yeah. When do you come up with those characters? Are they on the spot, or do you go into the studio with something in mind?
Oh, no, I don't. They're not on the spot at all. Souvenirs, I didn't sing anything for about a week when it came to the character of Souvenirs because I was trying to give him a backstory and get him to 19, and he kept being 35. And it was driving me insane. And it came to the lines of, I'm not going to play with you anymore. I'm not going to play with you anymore. And I went, well, these are the lines of a 13-year-old. So I went from there and gave that 13-year-old a backstory and made him 6 years older. And then I had a 19-year-old for Souvenirs. Thank God for the 13-year-old.
Do you keep those characters in mind when you're performing live?
Oh, yeah. When I'm performing live, it could be a mistake. I don't listen to myself sing. Huh. I switch characters on stage, and I go from the Brando school of where Brando, before he would ever study any lines in a script, he would always get the mannerisms of a character. Now, most people don't see it and don't realize it, but every song is a different character, and every character has a different movement. So I spent a lot of time on, okay, what is this character going to do? This character is going to leave us in the mic stand. He's going to do, his hands are going to do this. His hands are going to do that. Because there's not a lot you can, it's different than a film. There's not a lot you can do. It has to be with your hands or your head or how the mic stand is tilted and things like that. So, but every character has a different movement.
I love that. So here we are about to release a new album. But when you were about to release Bat Out of Hell, the first one, the record companies didn't like it, right?
Not only record companies, I only knew 10 people in the world that liked it.
That is impossible. It's one of the best-selling albums of all time.
Well, it took it 10 months.
Yeah.
I mean, people literally hated that record. And I've got people now, because it was released in the UK last week. And so I went on to Amazon to see what was going on. Mm-hmm. And in some of the 5-star reviews, I was reading, when I first heard this record, I hated it. But I listened to it again, and I went, oh, wait. And they said, then listen to it the third time. And I went, wait, I'm starting to get something. And they said by the 4th time, they couldn't believe how amazing it was. And that is because Jim and I, on Bat, when Bat came out, it was like nothing else.
Right.
There was no other music like it. This album, Jim and I had the same conversation. We don't want to do Bat Out of Hell. We don't want to do Bat 2. We want to do something that is completely different than either of those, instead of repeating ourselves, something different than any of those, and do something that is completely different than anybody else is doing out there.
And I think you achieved that. I mean, it is like nothing else. I mean, just hearing, just in that small clip for some of the fans that heard.
Oh, yeah.
It's not out yet. Yeah.
We've definitely achieved that. I read yesterday, somebody said speaking in tongues was too high of a key. Well, on the left-hand side, there's 2 harmony parts. On the left-hand side, that's me singing a third above it, so it wasn't too high. And that's Justin, the piano player, singing the other side. So we decided to do it in a 3-part harmony. And so I'm singing the lead and a third, and Justin singing the other third. And then Stacy comes in and blows the roof off the place.
Well, you always have great accompaniment on a lot of your albums. So.
Oh, and Carla and Ellen were amazing. And I didn't know how Jimmy called Ellen first, and I called Carla. Carla was in. And so then Jimmy said, you need to call Ellen. I said, well, you call Carla. I'll call Ellen. So Ellen was waiting for me to call her. And when I called her, she was in. And then we put a little trick on them. Because Ellen, and I totally get it, Ellen never got the appreciation or the recognition for Paradise by Dashboard Light, because when we went to shoot the video, it was Carla in the video. So everybody assumed it was Carla singing it. Well, when we shot the video, the guitar players that were in the band didn't want to be in the video. They thought it was stupid. Huh. So there's 2 guys playing guitar in that video. I don't know who they are.
That's crazy.
I have no idea. I look at them, I go, who are these people? And CBS didn't want to let us do it. So I called up Lou Adler, who's a really good friend of mine, who produced the Rocky Horror Show. And also at dinner, when I first went out to do Rocky Horror, Jim, myself, and Lou had dinner together. And Lou looked at Jim and said, if you 2 don't work together, He said to Jim, "You're crazy."
Huh.
And so Jim, I think Jim really respected Lou, so that's when it really got serious.
Yeah.
And that's, I forgot where I was, but anyway. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
We were pulling a trick on Ellen and Carla. And Ellen was flying from New York, Carla was flying from Indiana. But we booked them so they would land within 2 or 3 minutes of each other. Had separate cars, kept in the same hotel. And when Carla, I think, was already at the desk, Ellen walked in. And I'm sure it was Carla that said, "Let's have dinner." So they had dinner. I have no idea what they talked about, didn't ask them. Next day, we had 2 cars booked for them, so they would come separate. We got a call, we only need 1 car.
Got it, yeah.
So there was no tension, and it was just down to work, and let's do the song.
Let's do it. You know, you had that comeback in the mid-'90s with Better the Hell, too. And did you think ahead at time when you put out the song, I would do anything, I would do anything for love, but I wouldn't do that? Did you know that people would be asking you what that is for so many years? Did you expect that?
No. No. In fact, it was Jimmy in the studio that said to me, "Nobody's going to know what that is." And I said, of course they will. People aren't stupid, They'll know what that is. Jimmy, it's right there. It's right there on the lyric. How can you not know? And so we bet $100. I lost $100. and I've had to, I swear, 1,000,000 times been asked. And for those of you who want to know right now what that is, it is the line before every chorus. And I think there's 7 of them or 8 of them. One of them is, "I'll never stop dreaming of you every night of my life. I'll never do it better than I do it with you. I'd run right into hell and back." The problem is the way Jimmy writes. If he would have written, "I'll never stop dreaming of you every night of my life. I'll do anything for love, but I won't do that," there would have been no question about it. But Jimmy doesn't write like that. He writes, "I'll do anything for love, I'll 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 do anything for love, but I won't do that." And by the time we get to the end of "I won't do that," people forget the line, "I'll never stop dreaming of you." So, yep, cost me $100.
But lots of great success beyond. I mean, that must have been an incredible time to kind of go back and be that, how many years later.
Yeah, because on Better the Hell, I worked so hard, and it took 10 months to break it. And with the help of Lou Adler again, and with the help of, I had 2 really dear friends who were on Saturday Night Live, John Belushi and Gilda Radner, who lobbied Lorne Michaels, who was another one of those that hated the record. And so eventually, the next to the last week of Saturday Night Live, Lorne had given up and just went, "Okay, put him on." And so we went on, we did All Revved Up first. And I was in character. And I came charging at the camera at the end of the number. And then on 2 out of 3, we did 2 out of 3, and the next week, there was a DJ in Buffalo by the name of Sandy Beach. And the lyric of 2 out of 3 is the line, "Sandy Beach." So he put it on. But really, it started growing in January at the CBS convention when the president of CBS, Walter Yetnikoff, saw me live and said, "Why are we not working this record?" And he started giving out the signal to everybody, "You either work the record or you don't work here anymore." And you can't ask me. He could get away with that. I couldn't. But but it was really Saturday Night Live that broke the record.
That's great. And the world caught on right after that, so no problem.
Yeah,
there.
they finally got it.
They got it. You know, in addition
Only
to...
took them 10 months, but they got it.
They got it. In addition to your successful singing career, you've also been a very successful actor. You've been in so many great films and television shows. Loved you in Fight Club. What was it like? Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's really funny. I love Fight Club. One of the main reasons is I hardly ever spend any time in my trailer because I set in what they call Video Village, where the director looks at these little TV screens, and sit as close to David Fincher, the director, as I could sit, because I've directed 4 videos, and since then I've actually taken over a movie I was in, which was freaky. But I watched him, but I could not tell you a single thing about that character.
Huh.
I gave him a backstory, and my agent says that you're the only actor I know that will give a character a backstory before you ever go into audition. I've never seen any actor work so hard on anything as you do. And that's how I've lived my life. Back playing football in high school, I was the meanest kid in the team, even though I wasn't.
Right. I'm like, you're so nice. How could you be
I was
mean?
nice then, too. But if that coach didn't blow that whistle, somebody was going down. I got yelled at a lot.
So Fight Club, you had a backstory. It must have been pretty crazy, that backstory.
I'm sure it was, but I can't remember it to save my life. I don't know anything about it. But the film that I'm most proud of is a film called Focus with Bill Macy and Laura Dern, written by Arthur Miller. And Arthur Miller wrote Streetcar Named Desire, Crucible.
So many great films.
Yeah, Death of a Salesman, goes on and on and on. Well, he wrote a movie called Focus, and I got to be in it. And one day, Bill Macy and I had this scene. It was a 2-day scene. And I get there probably 8 o'clock, and I'm sitting in my chairs like this, and somebody comes and sits next to me, and I didn't really pay any attention to it. And I turned around and I looked, and it was Arthur Miller. And I freaked out totally and picked up my chair and moved it down the street and hid it behind a tree. And the first AD had already seen me there, and he goes, "Where did Meat go?" And I looked around the tree, I'm going, "I'm down here." And so when I got up to Bill Macy, I leaned over and said, "Did you know Arthur Miller's here?" And he goes, "Yeah." I said, "I'm freaked out." And he goes, "Look, you know what you're doing. Forget he's here. Let's do our scene." Because Bill and I had talked about it. The whole thing about you don't talk to actors, if you're a young actor, don't believe that. Every movie I've ever done, before I've done scenes, always talk to the other actor.
Sure. Well, you got a little starstruck there. I saw just a clip that went viral recently, or uncovered, was James Corden, a young James Corden, interviewing you. He was like a kid, and now he's a big television host. Do you remember that?
I know I don't remember it at all. I only saw it yesterday.
Okay.
It was by accident.
And now he's a big host. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And you were also in the celebrity...
And he was a kid, too.
He was a kid. He was a teenager.
Oh, man, he was really a kid.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. But I must have really enjoyed him because I looked like that I was having fun with him.
You did, yeah. He was such a natural. He was a natural host. Question for you. You were also in The Celebrity Apprentice with Donald Trump. Here we are seeing Donald Trump everywhere now.
Well, you know, I'm gonna use this.
Yeah.
In the words of Dolly Parton, America has a great system, and they will make the right decision.
Sure thing, sure thing. Okay, I want to ask you one last question. Do you have a philosophy on life by which you live?
Yeah. You try to improve yourself and learn something. I mean, really learn something. Not just like how to spell a word, but really learn something every day. And I'm really into, I can't think of the word. Oh, man, getting old is not for wussies, let me tell you.
I mean, yeah. Well, you're a busy guy. But learn something new every day. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And I think that, whatever age you are, you can achieve that. No problem.
Yeah, oh, it's easy. And I always, every film I do, I try to learn something, not only before we start to shoot, but in every scene. And it's a very interesting thing. Whenever I'm shooting a film in rehearsal, I see all the cameras and lights. When the director yells action, they're all gone. I can't explain that.
Yeah.
It's just me and the person that I'm doing the scene with. And if when we're doing the scene and they're still there, when the director yells cut, I'll say, let's do it again.
Right.
And they'll go, what? I say, let's do it again. Now, you're rolling, you're ready, go. And he goes, oh, okay. And they do, and they'll disappear. And he goes, are you happy now? They're usually very condescending. Are you happy now? I go, I'm fine, thanks.
Well, we look forward to seeing you on the screen again soon. Before we go, I would love to throw out some questions for the fans to ask you. If you have a few extra minutes, we have some fans out here.
You have the microphone.
You're wonderful. I'm in awe. I'm in awe. You're my Arthur Miller. Of all the songs that you do, which one is your personal favorite to perform?
Well, my personal favorite to perform, but I can't do it very often, is Crying Out Loud from Bat One. But I might talk about it a little bit before we start to sing it. And then you will always see me drop my head, and I have a trigger. Every actor has a trigger that helps put him in his character. And my trigger for that is I tap on my leg 4 times. And it puts me in the character. And the minute it does, I start crying whenever we do it live. And every time I've done that song live, I've started to cry. And so I've had to hold back until I can get that character in order. And sometimes I know, oh, I can't wait any longer. I've been standing up here for like a half an hour already. And I just start singing, even though I'm crying, and eventually I'll stop.
Hi, thank you so much for being here. I just want to say my parents raised me right and had me listening to your music since I was born, so thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So I just wanted to know, the music industry is always changing, so where do you see it in about 10 years?
I have no idea. The music industry lost me about 10 years ago. What's going on now? I have no clue. All I know is that I went in to deliver with Jimmy and Paul Crook, who produced it, the best album that we could do. And there were parts, like on Going All the Way, where I shot up the octave. And then when Carla came in and went high, what I did didn't sound right. And so I spoke to Jim, and Jim said, listen, do not be afraid of your low voice. Your low voice is really good. Do not be afraid of it. So I went with Jimmy, and I think people expected a lot of people expected when they saw Jim Steinman Meatloaf that what they were going to get was Bad in Hell or Bad 2. But we made a conscious decision that, no, not going to happen. And so, and the album, I know the album was meant to, in my mind, not be broken into tracks, but to start and to go straight through. But with iTunes, you had to break it into tracks. To me, it is a symphony, and you have to listen to it that way.
Thank you so much. I think we have a full album listen, right? All right, we have one more question in the crowd.
Hi,
Hi. What's your name?
Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
I'm Meatloaf. You and Jim are both extraordinary in your contributions together and your collaborations, and especially in the art of the long song that goes on for more than 5 minutes.
Back in the day, DJs loved us. The rock DJs, because they said, we love playing your songs. We can get up, we can go get something to eat, we can go to the bathroom, we can do all this stuff. We look at our clock, we go, oh, we still got 4 minutes left. Okay.
It's true.
We might see you both collaborate together, even for a few seconds on our video, where we see you both, or anything like that?
No. The last time you saw me and Jim together was when he was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame, which I was over the moon about, which he deserves. I think he's one of the top 10 writers in history. And I'm talking about Mozart, Richard Wagner, Jim Steinman. I think McCartney and Lennon fall into that category as well. But I'm talking about through history. Steinman, people don't really understand what he's giving them. I happen to completely get it. I understand it. It's like so deep and so deep is just mind-boggling. And then when you go to do me doing it in characters, it even becomes that more complicated.
Well, we're very lucky to have both you and Jim and a brand new album called Braver Than We Are, out Friday.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Meat.
Oh, you're welcome.
So lovely to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you.